Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you a beginner's guide to Goodnotes 6. This is my favorite note-taking app for digital planning as well as just regular note-taking. I did this video initially when Goodnotes 6 came out last year, but there have been so many new features and updates added to Goodnotes 6, so I'm going to include all of those new features in this beginner's guide. When Goodnotes 6 was released, a lot of people had an issue with it becoming subscription-based because that was not the case prior with Goodnotes 5, but now having had Goodnotes 6 for a while, we can clearly see that this has enabled them to probably have more funds to bring out even more updates and features on a regular basis, a lot more than we were getting with Goodnotes 5. So there are so many new features which I'm excited to share with you to Goodnotes 6. So yeah, let's get started. So let's go in here, and the first thing I want to cover is just the UI. The UI means the user interface, just everything that you see here and how you interact with the app. So this here is your main page in Goodnotes where all your documents live. So as you can see here, I have a few documents as well as a few folders. But this is your main section, which is titled Documents. You can also see here at the side, you have this navigation bar, which you can hide by clicking on this icon here at the side. So then you have a full page view of your documents, or you can bring that up again. So the first section in this sidebar is Documents, which is where we are now. And first, I just want to focus on this, and then we'll get to the rest of the sections here. So this is your documents page. Like I already mentioned, you have everything that you've created, documents and folders and PDFs that you've maybe imported, all here in one space. Now you can organize this using folders, as you can see here, and this came new with Goodnotes 6. You could always create folders, but now you can customize them a bit more with colors and icons. So to create a new folder, all you need to do is click on this plus button here, which says new, and then you can choose the folder icon. And here you can title your folder whatever you want, so I'm just gonna title this folder. If you're wondering how I'm writing and converting to text, I'm using the scribble feature on iPad. If you don't know how to use this, just make sure in the settings for your iPad that in the Apple Pencil settings that scribble is turned on. And that's what allows me to convert my handwriting into text, like in text fields like this. Once I have titled my folder, I can also give it a color. So as you can see, we have a few sets of colors here. So I'm just going to go with this one here. And then you can also choose an icon for your folder. So here you can see we have a few different types of icons here that you can choose from. Once you're happy, you can just click on done, and then you've created your folder. Now moving back to this icon here, this is where you can create different things. So going here, you can see we have a few different options. The first one we have here is Notebook, which I will be getting to in a bit. Then we have Study Set, which allows you to create flashcards, which you can review and study from, which is a really helpful feature. I've actually used this in the past as well, just to show you when you're creating a new study set. Again, you get the option to title it, so I'm just gonna write down study set. You can choose which language it is in, and also you can choose the color of this little folder that the study set is in. So you can again have all these color options to choose from. And once you're happy with that, you can click on create to create your study set. Now I do think this is a really nice thing to have because Goodnotes is so catered to students. So you can create flashcards, and even I, who is not a student anymore, have used this feature for different things. So how this works is you have two pages. You have your question, and then at the bottom here you have your answer. So at the top here you can maybe write down a term, and then for the answer you could write down the definition or vice versa. And you have different options on how you can do this. You can either use text and just type down the term here, as you can see, or you can use an image. This is nice if you have diagrams or things, you can use this, or you can use the drawing feature, which will then just allow you to draw on your flashcard here. And you have all the tools available to you to draw, add images and everything all here. So that's also something that you can do to create the study sets. The same goes for the answer sheet. You can do the exact same thing. So once you've created one flashcard, to create a new one, you just swipe to this side until it says release to add card. And then you can create another one for your study set. So once you've created a set, which I'm just going to go to one that I've already created in the past. Now this is a set of 10 different flashcards that I created for my Bible school with a question and answer section. And once you've created your flashcard set, you can study them or revise them. So how this works is I can click here on this top icon here. And then you have two options. You have Smart Learn or you have Practice. So I'm just going to click on Practice. And how this works is I have here the question, and to get the answer, I just tap on it and it will show me the answer at the back. Tap on it again to get back to the question. or you can just swipe to move to the next question. So that is how you can use these study sets to study whatever you want, like terms and definitions and things like that. You also have this option here, which is called scratch paper, which allows you to just have like a little notepad here at the side if you want to have any extra notes here at the side. So that's how you can use study sets. Then we have the folder option, which we've already covered. Then image is just to import an image, which you can then write over whatever you want. You can also scan the documents directly in Goodnotes. You can also take a photo, so that will just open up the camera. You can import a document, which will take you to files, where you can import any PDF or whatever you want. Or you can create a quick note, which allows you to just quickly make a note, which the name suggests. So you can either do that by clicking on quick note, or the faster option to really create a quick note is just to double tap on this new icon, and then it will create a quick note with a default template for you to use. Now, if you're wondering how to set the default for a quick note, you can just go here to the settings option here, and then you can go to manage notebook templates, and whatever you've set here as default is going to be the default for the quick note in the paper section. It's not going to have a cover, but it's going to have just like a paper template. So the one that's selected here is going to be the default for quick notes as well. But I'm going to get into all these settings when we're creating our notebooks. So that is all for the document section and how to create different types of documents. Then I'm just going to quickly cover the other parts here in this sidebar. So you will see in your documents and folders, you have this little star icon here in the top right corner. This indicates whether a document is favorited or not. And if you have a bunch of different favorited documents and folders, a place to go view them is here in this favorites folder. So here you can see all my favorited notebooks and folders, but you can even favorite different pages within documents, which is these ones here. And this is just a way to quickly get access to maybe frequently used pages and things like that. So you can find all that in your favorites folder here at the side. Then we have search here, which allows you to search for things throughout your notebooks and documents. And what's really great about note-taking on iPad is the fact that you have handwriting recognition. So whatever you've written in your handwriting, you can even search that here in Goodnotes. So for instance, I'm going to search for variable. And as you can see, it's going to search for all the different pages in different documents where that word maybe comes up. So for instance, here is a document which I was specifically looking for, which has the word variable in. And here it just says at the bottom, it shows what I searched and how many matches are found. So for instance, if I go back to search, and I search, as you can see, here are all the different results where that shows up. And again, this is what I was looking for. And as you can see here at the bottom, it says unit and it says 3 matches found. So I can just swipe through these arrows to find all the different places where that word is coming up in my document. So that is how you can search through all your different documents for a certain word or something that you're looking for. You also have this shared option here if you have any shared documents with other users. If you share a document, you can view all of those here as well. Then we have the marketplace, which is where you can find different templates of planners and stickers and templates and things like that. So here you can see we have different ones and they have prices to them, so you can buy them from here. So I can go here to home, but you also have planners with a selection that you can choose from. You have stickers, which other creators have made, which you can buy. You have templates with different things. So here you can see here are a few subscriber special covers. This is if you're a subscriber to Goodnotes 6, you have access to some free things that they offer. So here are some notebook templates, which I've already saved all of these, which are just a really nice option to have. And then lastly, we have education. Now these are really cool because these are workable workbooks, which allows you to use math and things like that, and it will detect whether you have wrong answers or things like that to actually study. And this is just really great. So these are interactive exam prep books, which you can work through if you are a student. So that is the marketplace, and where you can find a bunch of different resources and templates and things for you to use in Goodnotes. Now let's get back to our documents section to create some new notebooks. So I'm going to click on this plus button here and we're going to go to notebook. So here you can adjust the templates that you're using to create your notebooks. So for instance, we have here our paper templates, which is this section here. And here you can see you have different types of templates. So you have blank, dotted, squared, ruled wide. And you can also import custom templates like these ones that I've imported here by going all the way to the right until you see the import section where you can import any documents or things that you want to use as a template. You have different sections here, so these are just the essentials. You have writing papers, planner pages, which I've also created some custom ones, and then they also just show you some on Marketplace which you can get if you want. You have music, so you can use these templates, but you can also edit them to your liking so that they work for what you prefer. So for our writing paper, what you can do is you can go here to paper templates, and first off you can choose the size. So by default it's going to be a Goodnotes standard size, but you can use A4, A5, whatever you want. But you can also choose whether you want it to be landscape or portrait, so whatever you prefer in your Goodnotes document, you can adjust that. You can also adjust the color of these pages. So as you can see, most of these are yellow, and this is the one that I've customized to my liking. So you can go to custom theme here, and you can see here these are the default ones. So we have yellow, white, and black, but you can create your own custom themes here by going to customize colors. You can give it a title. So if you want the background color to be like maybe like a grayer color or just plain white, you can do that. And you can have the foreground color to be maybe like a brown, we can do that, and then you can apply that. So then that will be your new template that you have here for notebooks, and it will stay here if you want to reuse it in different notebooks as well. Another thing you can do here is just title your notebook. So I'm just going to title this Goodnotes Beginner's Guide. And then you also have the option to change your cover image as well, which is basically the same thing as the paper templates. You have different sets here with different color options. As you can see here at the bottom, it shows how many color options there are. And you can also import your own custom cover images if you want to. And the same goes for the cover images. You can also go here to change the presets of the cover images to the colors that you like. So once you're happy with the notebook selection that you have, you can click on Create. So now we are in our notebook. The main thing that Goodnotes usually is used for is the notebooks and note-taking. So first, again, we're going to familiarize ourselves with the UI, the user interface, and how we interact with the document. So first off, we have this bar here at the top, which just shows us all the other open documents. So if you're starting off and this is your first notebook, you probably don't have anything here at the top. It just probably shows the one document's title. But you can see here I have like 4 other documents open as well. Here is the one we're currently in. You also have a home icon here at the side, which just allows you to go back to your documents section here. Then we have this bar here, and what I want to focus on right now for this bar is just these 3 icons that we have here. So the first one is our toggle to enter into reading mode. So that is what that looks like. As you can see, the blue bar disappears and now it just looks like this. This is really helpful if you are someone who uses digital planners or any notebooks with hyperlinks. Now, hyperlinks are links in a PDF that allows you to jump to different sections. So for instance, here I have my planner that I use in Goodnotes, and this is something that another person has created, and it has all these hyperlinks, meaning that it's links to different pages in the document. So here at the side you can see all the months of the year, and I can jump to June, and then once I click on the hyperlink it will take me to that page. So that's why I say this is really helpful. So when you're in the writing mode, which means this blue bar is at the top, hyperlinks aren't as easy to use. So if I just tap on it, nothing happens. I can activate it in the writing mode by holding down until this menu bar pops up, and then I can select open link. But the easier and faster way is just to enter into reading mode, and then I can freely use my hyperlinks as I wish. And then I can just go back to my editing mode or writing mode once I'm in the page that I want to be in. So that is how you use hyperlinks in your documents and what the reading mode basically is for. Then we have this keyboard icon, which is our writing mode, which allows you to just have a full document of just text. So if you have a keyboard connected, you can easily type out notes. This is very limited for now with what you can do. It only has a few different formatting options like heading 1, heading 2, and captions and things like that, and different alignment sections. but you only have one font available, which is a bit limiting, but hopefully they will improve this in the future. I just don't think this is top priority because I don't know how many people use this feature. You also have this option here, which looks like a little star. So if you select any text and you tap on that, it gives you options to review and edit it and change the tone or fix grammar and spelling and things like that, which is really helpful. So hopefully they bring more to this in the future. Then we have our mic option here, which allows us to create an audio recording while taking our notes. So I'm going to start a recording and I'm just going to write my notes as I'm going. So then once I'm happy with that, I can stop that audio recording and then it goes to live in this section here. And here I can see all the different audio recordings that I have. I can do a playback of them and I have different playback speeds that I can have. And then here you can see we have different audio clips. So I can go to this one here, which is the one I just did. And what's really nice is as the audio recording plays, you can follow along with your note taking. So here at 6 seconds, I started writing and it shows up here in my notes, which is just a really nice feature if you want to do this in class and follow along with the lecture, and you can see when you wrote what note in that audio recording. So that's all for this toolbar up here. What I first just want to address before we get started with this toolbar here is just the fact that, as you can see here, you have your note paper at the bottom with your template. You can go to the first page, which is your cover image. You can write in a title, whatever you want to do. To add a new page, you can just swipe until you see this little icon appear, and you can just pull to add a page. So you can do that for however many pages you want to, as you can see here. And you can also see that we have horizontal scrolling, not vertical scrolling. If you prefer vertical scrolling, you can change that by clicking on these 3 dots, going to scrolling direction and changing it to vertical. And then it is a vertical scroll. And to add a page, you just do the same thing. You just drag up and then it will add a page. So that is how you can change your scrolling direction in Goodnotes if you prefer vertical scrolling. You can also change the template of your notebook if you've changed your mind by going to these 3 dots here and choosing change template. Then it brings up this menu again where you can change different things. That's just going to change the template for the page that you're on though, not the entire notebook. So now let's get started with the note taking. So here we have our toolbar at the top here. And first I'm just going to show you what all the tools are. So first we have our pen tool. And for the pen tool, we have a lot of settings that I want to cover. I'm just going to tap on it to show you this menu bar that pops up. So here you can see we have 3 different types of pens. First, we have the fountain pen, which looks like this. Here you can adjust a few settings for the fountain pen, like the tip sharpness, which you will see change as I adjust it in this graphic here. You will see the graphic changes with that. You have the different options for pressure sensitivity, meaning how hard you push down with your pen on the screen is gonna affect how thick that line is gonna be for pressure sensitivity, and you can adjust this as you would like. And then also, this is new to Goodnotes 6 and just came out maybe a week or so ago. It's the tip flatness, so again you will see a change there, but you can adjust how flat that tip is, flat or round. So that is the fountain pen. Then the ball pen doesn't have any other settings here. These are things that I will be getting to in a bit, but that's not specific to the ball pen. And then we have brush pen settings, which is kind of similar to the fountain pen, just because we have pressure sensitivity on this pen as well. So those are the 3 different pens. Like I said, my favorite is the ball pen. I just feel like it makes my handwriting look neater, because once the varying thicknesses come in, I just feel like my handwriting just doesn't look as neat. Before we get into all these settings, I just want to quickly cover this side of our toolbar. So here you can see the different thicknesses that we have available for our pens, and also all the presets that which I've added here. You can have up to 12 different color presets here, or you can only have 1 or 2. You can really decide how full you want to pack this preset bar. But the first section here is our thicknesses, and you can have 3 presets for thicknesses. So one can be very thick, so this one is 2 millimeters, and you can go from 2 millimeters to 0.1 millimeter, which is the thinnest. So you can choose how thick you want your lines to be. And I have usually one pen set on 0.4, which is my standard writing pen usually. And then usually one is set to 0.55 or just a thicker brush. But you can choose whichever thickness presets works best for you. Then also here in stroke settings, you have 3 different types of strokes, which is also new with Goodnotes 6. So you now have the option for just a solid line like this. Then you can have a dashed line, which looks like this, which I think are just really fun to spruce up any notes. And you also have a dotted line, which you can choose, which looks like this. So those are the 3 different types of strokes that you can have in Goodnotes. But usually I mostly stick to this, just the solid line. So like I said, you have your color presets here at the side. You can go in to view all the color presets that you have. I have quite a few. I will put an image on the screen with all of the hex codes of the colors that I mainly use in Goodnotes. And basically what those are is when you go to custom here, you have this little grid with a bunch of colors, or you can use this color wheel section if you want to. But here you will see next to the color wheel, it says hex, and then it just says 000, depending on the color that you choose. That hex code is gonna change with the color. But if you want a certain color, which I use in my notebooks, in your Goodnotes, you can just type in that hex code there and add to presets. Then you can have that exact color in your color palette presets as well. Also, something that's new with Goodnotes 6 is the fact that we now have our eyedropper tool here. I use this a lot for maybe like my planners. If I want to pick up a certain color in my planner, I can just use the eyedropper tool and pick up a color out of maybe one of these images that I imported, and then I have that color available to me to just use throughout my document. So now moving back to the pen tool here, if I tap on it, we have some other settings here at the bottom. So first we have draw and hold, which allows you to draw shapes and it will snap into a perfect shape once you hold. So I'm going to draw a circle, and when I hold, it's going to snap into a perfect circle like that. So as you can see, it has the circle with the outline, and then it has a faint little color inside now. That is because in the draw and hold section, we have fill color turned on, which will just fill that shape with whatever color you have selected, but just a lighter shade of that color. So that is what that looks like. So that is how you can basically easily draw shapes in Goodnotes. You also have snap to other shapes, which is a setting which allows shapes that you've drawn to just easily snap onto one another, just to kind of neaten it up a bit and just makes it look nice. So that is also something you can either turn off or on here in the draw and hold settings. So here you can see snap to other shapes. So you can either use shapes like that using the pen tool, or you can use the designated shapes tool. I find myself rarely using this just because I can easily draw it with the pen tool and I don't need to switch between different tools every single time, but the shapes tool is there. And with the shapes tool, drawing shapes is pretty much instant. It immediately snaps into a perfect shape. One fun little tip that I have for using shapes with the full color turned on is once you have your shape drawn, you can click undo once, and to undo in Goodnotes, you can either use the undo button here at the side to undo, or you can use 2 fingers to double tap and then it will undo as well. So that's a quick way to undo in Goodnotes. But once you've clicked undo once, you will see the outline of that shape disappear and you're just left with the fill color. And this is just a nice thing you can do. You can maybe create this as a border to some text or something that you want to have a border for. So you can use that as like a cute little thing in your notes. So you can either do that to just have the full color remaining, or if you just want the shape and not the full color, you can just switch to the eraser tool and click on erase in the middle, and then it will erase that inside. But that is shapes in Goodnotes. And as for other things we have here in the pen section, you also have pen gestures. So first one is scribble to erase, and then we have circle to lasso. So scribble to erase is a really fun feature which was introduced with Goodnotes 6. So if I have text here, like in my planner here, I can just scribble over that and then it will erase it, so I don't have to switch to the eraser tool. I can just scribble over it and it will get the job done. So that is pen gestures for scribble to erase. And then we have circle to lasso, which just allows you to use a lasso tool very quickly by just with the pen tool selected outlining your text, and then hold down on that and it will turn into the lasso tool, which allows you to move that around really easily. Even images and things like that, I can just hold down and that turns into the lasso tool that I can easily move things around with. So that's all for pen gestures. Then moving back to our settings here, we also have writing aids, which allows you to have spell check. So if I wrote a spelling error, so let's go ahead and write something. Here I wrote Apple, but it is obviously incorrect. So then I can tap on it because it's underlined it as red, showing me it's incorrect. I can tap on that and choose one of the options that they give me, and it will try to mimic my handwriting and correct whatever spelling error I had, which is obviously really nice. I don't often use this, but it is a nice feature, especially maybe if you're in school. And you can choose here which language you want it to recognize. So that is the writing aid section and how you can use that for specifically spelling errors. And then the last setting, which is still experimental and new to Goodnotes 6, is palette shortcuts. Now this is specific to the Apple Pencil Pro, which I have here, because with the Apple Pencil Pro, with the squeeze feature, you can now have this mini toolbar pop up with all your different tools, and then within the pen tool you can see here these 3 different line thicknesses and things. So I can create presets for maybe like the fountain pen to a certain sharpness and certain width, and I can add that here as a preset. So now when I use this toolbar, I can easily switch to my fountain pen and then back to my ball pen just using those palette shortcuts. But again, this is only for Apple Pencil Pro. So that's all I wanted to cover for the pen tool. Next, I want to cover the highlighter, which we have here. I don't want to focus too much on this. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's kind of the same as the pen tool. You have your 3 different presets for thicknesses, which you can set, as well as your color presets that you can have here. Again, I will put an image for all the hex codes that I have and that I use for my highlighter in Goodnotes. I will put on the screen, but this is just a way to easily highlight any writing. So using the highlighter, I can just highlight a word. Settings for the highlighter that we have is just draw in straight lines. So you will see once you draw a highlighter line, it will just snap into a straight line. You can turn that off if you just want it to be a bit more wonky or whatever, just to not be so precise, but you can turn that off or on for the highlighter settings. Next, I want to cover the eraser tool, which is this option right here. And for this, you have 3 different sizes, just default, small, medium, and large. But we have 3 different types of erasers, as you can see in this toolbar here. It does show you a little graphic of what each one basically does. But just to show you in a demonstration, I'm just going to draw quickly 3 different lines. So the first eraser is the precision eraser. So this one is very precise with exactly what you erase, and you can just be very specific with where you want the erasing to happen. Then we have the standard eraser, which is just a less precise version of the precision eraser. So it doesn't erase exactly where you put your little circle, as you can see there, but it just does an erase. This is really nice because it keeps the shape of your stroke. So for instance, the precision eraser, obviously you can make it pretty much like a straight line at the side. But with the standard eraser, you still keep that rounded edge. Especially, I use this a lot for highlighting. If I've overshot the amount that I needed to highlight, I can just use the standard eraser just to keep that still that rounded edge, as you can see there, but just to shorten my highlighting section. So that's what I use the standard eraser for a lot. And then the stroke eraser just erases that entire stroke that we just drew. Some settings that we have in the eraser tool is the fact that you can turn off or on erase highlighter only. So if you have some writing within your highlighter, going over the eraser over it will just erase the highlighter option. You also have erase tape only, which is the tape tool, which is new, which I will be getting to. But you can erase only the tape or turn that off or on. You can also click on clear page just to clear the entire page of anything that's on it. And settings here, we have auto deselect, meaning that I can write something out on my page. I can switch to the eraser tool, quickly erase what I wanted to erase, and then once I lift up my pen, it will switch back to the pen tool. So that's just quickly switching to the different tool again. It just saves you a lot of time. I always found this really helpful, and I usually have that on. Next up, we have this tool here, which I want to cover, which is the lasso tool. So this allows you to select different things in a document. So going back to my planner to demonstrate this, the lasso tool has different settings here. So as you can see, you can turn on handwriting, images, text boxes, equations, tape, comments, sticky notes, etc. So how this works is you just use the lasso tool, and here you can see we have 2 different types. this is also a new feature, so you can either have the one that is freehand, so you can draw exactly how you want with the lasso, or you can just use the square lasso to just drag over what you want to select. That one is the one I use the most. But having the lasso tool selected, you can just select whatever you want, and then you can either tap on it to get this menu up with some options like cut, copy, delete. You can even resize things with the lasso tool, or if you just want to move something, you can just move it around using the lasso tool. Where this really comes in handy is if you have a lot of overlapping things. So for instance, here I have an image, I have some handwriting that I use the dotted stroke for, and then I just have here text, which is just an emoji. So now what I can do is if I want to move just one of these things, not everything, I can select here in my selection what I want to use. So maybe I just want to move the handwriting, but I don't want the image and everything else moving with it, so I can just do that and only the handwriting will move around. Or if I just want to move the image, I can just turn that on and turn off everything else, and then I can do that. So that is a really helpful thing, to just select exactly what you want, especially with a lot of things overlapping each other in a section. Next is something new, which is the tape tool, which is really helpful if you are a student, I think. For instance, here I drew a bunch of tape over a diagram. So now when you tap on that tape, which you've drew, so here you can see you can adjust the size of the tape and also just the different colors. So I can just draw a piece of tape which looks like this. But how the tape works is once you've drawn it, you can tap on it and then it will remove the tape and you can see what's beneath it, but you can tap on it again to return it. So like I said, this is really helpful if you are checking yourself on like diagrams like this where it has different annotations to it. You can then just tap on that to remove the tape and add it back on. So you can do that, or if you just want to use it as like a decorative element, you can also do that. Maybe like on an image, you can add it to like the corner of images just to make it look like washi tape or something like that. I hope we get more like patterns or something to it in the future, but that is the tape tool. I think it's a really helpful tool. You can also tap here just to see remove old tape or draw in straight line, turn that off or on. We already covered the shapes tool. Then we have elements here, which is basically where you can store stickers. You can either buy stickers like I already showed you from the marketplace of Goodnotes, or you can import and create your own elements or buy elements from other creators. You will see when you buy stickers from creators online, usually they will have a .collection file, which is basically a Goodnotes element section. Here are a few that I've just created using drawings that I drew in Goodnotes, and now I can just use them throughout my planners, and you can resize them and reuse them again. To create a new element section, you can just go all the way to the side till you see the plus button, or you can go to the marketplace from here as well. But then you can just create a new collection. You can go to add photos to add any photos to the elements collection, or you can go to import from and it will take you to files and you can import them in here. And then you can just click on create once you're happy with your collection that you've created. So I can go ahead to files and add in these little stickers that I created, and I can add them all here into a collection. You can only do this one at a time. A quick tip is just to enter into split screen view, and in files I can then select whatever I want to import, and then I can just drag them over. So that's so you can add a bunch of images at once into the collection. So yeah, collections are really helpful to have quick access to things, and you can just store all of them here in this little element section. You can also create your own elements from things that you maybe do in Goodnotes. So for instance, this little emoji I drew using the highlighter and the pen tool in Goodnotes, and then I just went ahead and selected it with the lasso tool, tapped on it, and just chose the add element option. And what's really great about this is the fact that you can still edit all the different pieces. So for instance, I created this element using the shape tool to draw my shape. I added in an element that was free with Goodnotes with this, so basically it's an image, and then I added text in the middle of my shape. So these are different things throughout Goodnotes, but once I have the elements tool selected, as you can see, they move around as a group, but I can switch to maybe like the lasso tool and just select the pen area, the shape, and then I can go to color and change the color. Because that is a pen that I used in Goodnotes, I can change it natively in Goodnotes just like that. really easily. I can also switch to the text tool and change the text that I have here. And then I can also move this image or resize this image around by switching to the image tool. So all these little individual pieces are editable, but when I go back to the elements tool, they move around as a group. So that is really helpful. If you have something that you want to reuse, you can create it into an element, but still change certain parts of it to fit whatever document you're using it in. Then we have the photos tool, which just allows you to import any photos into your document. So if I want to add in this photo here, I can add that in like this. But with photos, you can also crop your images. So here you can see it says crop, and you have two different ways. You can either crop it in a rectangle like this, so you can just adjust the sides and how you want it to crop, and then you have your crop like that. Or you can do like a freehand crop, where you go to crop and choose freehand, and then you will just draw out with your pen how you want it to look. Click on done, and then you have your freehand crop here as well. Next option we have here is text. So text, I use again the scribble feature, but you can just use the keyboard from the iPad. You can just tap and then your keyboard will pop up. Or if you like to use scribble, you can just tap on it anywhere on the screen with a pen, and then you can just write and it will convert that into text. I have a video going in depth on using Scribble and all the different features and shortcuts to quickly and easily edit your text using Scribble, which I will have linked, but that is just quickly how you can use text and Scribble in Goodnotes. Also, just if you're wondering, if you're writing for the first time in Goodnotes, your text probably won't look like this because I have set a default font, and this is a font that I installed through a third-party app onto my iPad. I will have a video linked to how you can do that as well. I'm not going to cover that, but I usually just use the app called iFont to import fonts onto my iPad, which I can then use in Goodnotes. My fonts that I always use is this handwriting font. It's a pack of different handwriting fonts. But how to set a different text is, I'm just gonna choose, maybe I want a new default. Maybe this is what I want for a new default. To set something as default, just make sure you have the right font and the right size that you want it to be and the right color. Then you can just tap on this T with a heart here, and you can just select Save as Default. You can either do it through there or just tap on the T here and then choose Save as Default. But then once you've set that as default, then every time you create a new text box, it automatically will be that font and that size and that color. You can also just be a bit more fancy with the type of text boxes by going to this option here, where you can adjust. You can choose from their presets by just going to advanced here, and you can change the background of your block that you have there. You can choose the border color if you want a border around that. You can choose how rounded the corners of your little text box is, just to add a nice border around your text. The next tool we have is the magnifier tool, where you can use it to write out your notes. So as you can see, here is the preview, and this is where you're going to be doing the writing. So I'm just going to start writing here, and as I'm writing and how farther I get to the right hand side of my screen, you will see this little box pop up, which allows you to auto advance. So now if I'm already to the max to where I'm comfortable with writing, I can move to the side here and continue on, and then I can just move. As you can see, this box moves on, and now I can just continue to write without having to stop to reposition my zoom on my screen the entire time, because it just brings up that box to allow me to advance again. You can also adjust this by using these arrows to where exactly you want to move to on your screen. The next feature is also a newish feature to Goodnotes 6, which is a ruler, which you can use, and you can see here the amount of degrees that you are angling the ruler. This could be really helpful for students who are doing any type of geometry or something, I think, or just to draw straight lines. This allows you to easily do that, but obviously you do have the just snap to draw in a straight line. But I mean, the ruler could be really helpful, especially for students, but that is how you can use the ruler. You can just edit how it is on your screen with your fingers like this. Then we have our pointer here, which is really great if you're doing like a presentation or something and you want to show something that you're doing on your screen. You have two different types of pointers. This one here that just looks like a red dot laser, which you can show. And then you have this one here that lasts a bit longer, just to outline something, but then eventually it fades out. So if you want to point something out, you can use that, especially if you're mirroring your iPad onto something. This could just be really helpful to use. Also, if there's something here that you're not going to be using and you want to clear up some clutter for your toolbar. You can customize it. So I'm going to go here to the three dots. I'm going to go to document editing and toolbar customization. So here I can remove things that I know maybe I'm not going to be using. Like for instance, I barely use the laser tool, and the ruler I also don't use, and the shapes tool I also don't use. So with those removed, now when I click on done, you will see that they no longer are here at the top, but you can still get access to them quickly by going to this drop down arrow, and then you will see the hidden tools and you can go ahead and edit your toolbar customization here. But that is also something you can do to clean up your toolbar and just have the things that you know you're going to be using in your toolbar. Just some other basic things that I just want to point out. I know this video is already very long. For some other settings that we have here in this toolbar here at the top. So first we have this little plus button here, which will allow you to add a page, and you have three different options. You have add a page after, add a page before, or add a page to the last page of your document. So if I just want to add this exact template just on the next page, I can just select after, and then I can choose which template I want to use. So I can use for my templates gallery, I can add an image, a document, or import something, or I can just select current template. And as you can see, it will just duplicate that template that I have here. You can do this in your regular documents as well. Click on the plus button, just choose add after your current template, and then it will just look like that. So that is how you can add pages. You also have this little icon here to favorite pages, like I already showed you in the favorites toolbar in your home here. You can go here, you can see my favorite pages. You can also click on this share option to just export this page, or you can export all your pages in your document or print something. Like I showed you with the laser tool, you can use the presentation mode and you can choose how that looks to the people that are viewing your presentation. So that's all for this little share icon. And then this three dots here, you have some other settings like copying your page, you can rotate your page, change your templates, and then here at the bottom you just have some other settings and document settings for different things which you can turn off or on, which I'm not going to get into, but you can take a look into all those settings as well. Also, if you want to like delete a page, you can just click here to move page to trash, and then it will delete that page. You also have this little thumbnail view here at the side, which allows you to see your documents and all the pages in your document. This is actually new. Usually it was like a full page thing that came up, but now this is what it looks like. So you can easily see all the pages in your document. This is especially helpful for longer documents. You can also go to bookmarks. If you have favorited or bookmarked any pages, then it will show up here in the bookmarks section. Outline is if you add any pages to your outline. So this allows you to easily navigate your planners or documents. So basically it can be your own little table of content. So if I want every month to be like an outline, so I can go to the month of January, click on the three dots and choose add page to outline. I can title this January, and I can do this for every month, and then I can just see my outlines on what specific page that page is. This can be really helpful for different chapter topics or things that you want to create an outline for to quickly go to a certain chapter in your notebook that you've created. You can use outlines for that. Also in this view here, you can go ahead and click on edit and select different pages to do certain things, like you can copy them, rotate, you can export only the selected pages that you have. You can go to more here and go ahead and move them, or go to trash. So move allows you to move them to a different document or a different folder. And you can also just easily rearrange pages by holding down and moving them here in this little thumbnail view of your document. So that is how you can easily rearrange and view all your pages in your document in Goodnotes. Also, just make sure to make use of like other things that are natively on your iPad, like using the split screen view to quickly be able to drag images over into Goodnotes, or using the subject selection tool in Photos on iPad to select the subject of an image and use that as a sticker in your documents in Goodnotes. There's so many things that you can do in Goodnotes. I will have a video linked with all my tips and tricks for Goodnotes and just how to do things like that. I will have linked if you want to learn even more about Goodnotes and all the things you can do in that, which isn't just the beginner's guide. But that is all I wanted to share with you as a beginner. So that was my beginner's guide to Goodnotes 6. I hope this helped you get a grasp of the app, how to use it, and really to get your full potential out of the app. Like I said in the video, I have so many other videos going into depth about certain topics on Goodnotes 6, or just tips and tricks in Goodnotes 6, which I will have linked in the description in a playlist if you want to just learn some more more tips and tricks for Goodnotes 6 to just elaborate on certain features. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!